and we're with Keith English from Keith English and Associates, and we're discovering a little bit about choosing agents to sell your property, and good advice on getting your property ready for sale and presenting it. But I guess choosing the agent, and we're getting to the end of the show, and I just wanted to recap, because we talked about all the good things that you look for in an agent, but there must be some warning bells that if an agent walks in, that the average buyer may not be as savvy, because we're not in your industry, but maybe some warning bells that you would go, oh, this would perhaps get me a little bit...
Probably the main warning bell is someone who comes in and praises your property but doesn't back it up with evidence or reasoning. So if there's 5 other properties that are similar to yours that are sold within this price range, why would yours be worth $100,000 more?
Yes.
So, and sometimes some properties won't. I remember selling a property in Embleton, and it was quite unique a property, and I actually went to the people and said, this is where the sales evidence sits, but I believe we will get here. Okay, and there was no sales evidence to show that, but I gave a reasoning because it was a beautifully renovated 3x1 that had been converted into a 3x2 and had a double lock-up garage, and it was very highly elevated.
Yes.
And there was nothing quite like it on the market, so there was reason why. And we actually sold that very quickly, and we sort of all the sales evidence was saying around the 500, low 500s. We put it on from 599.
Yes.
And we sold it the first night for 640.
Wow.
Okay. So that backed up my argument. Now, sometimes you can say, well, the sales evidence is here, but the owner wants to try higher.
Yes.
So my advice to them is to say, let's test the market out, but let's look at adjusting our price back in the first couple of weeks. So going back to what look out for is someone who can't support their argument for the price that they're giving you.
So that agent, and I think you used the phrase before, buys the listing.
Yeah.
And I guess we've all met them.
Yeah, so they tell you what you want to hear, and it's called buying the listing in the industry. You know, where it's an unrealistic price, but it makes sure that the agent gets the listing.
Yeah.
So be careful of those agents. The other thing also is one that isn't the cheapest. Don't always go for the cheapest commission, and because often you do get what you pay for, and you might save a couple of $1,000 or so on the commission prices, but that is a massive difference when it comes to the negotiating stage. A good agent could negotiate it, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. More than an average agent.
Yes.
So a little bit of saving at the start could cost you lots more at the end.
At the end, yeah.
And the other thing too, as I wanted to discuss, was don't necessarily always just go for a local agent because they're a local agent.
I was going to say, because I probably grew up in that era, with Dad, and so you always buy local, you shop local, you buy, and then you got into that phrase of just I'll just choose the local agent from Dad, not with the local shopping centre that's got the agencies there.
Well, in the old days in real estate, you would drive to your real estate agent and he would hop you in the car and he would drive you around to his properties.
Yeah.
And that was a real local agent. And that was the only way you would know what properties were on the market. Now we're in the days of internet. The buyers don't care where your agent is. Okay?
No.
And more importantly, they don't even look where your agent is. So if you're choosing an agent, have a look. Don't just necessarily go for a local agent. Go for a recommended agent that you can go from family and friends.
Yep.
And I've sold in 105 plus suburbs of Perth.
Wow.
Okay. Most agents will sell in 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'll often get referred to people who've had trouble selling. So I might go through 1 agent, 2, 3, sometimes 4 agents. And they've all been local agents. Don't get me wrong, there are some very good local agents.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes we get into a trap of, I've seen where they don't believe, I had one agent tell me, 4x2s in this suburb, they're worth $375,000. Okay.
Right.
All right, so that's their ceiling, that's their limit. Okay, and I said, well, and that's when I sold a property once with an agent, and they sold 375. That's what you'll get for it, and we got 399. Okay,
Big difference.
Yeah, local agent was predetermined, set in their price range.
Does it, just on the local agent thing, is it being brought about more because you've got your own, you're independent, but is the franchisee model for real estate agents kind of capped them into areas?
I don't believe so.
Right.
I think it's more of a seller mentality to say, well, you have to get a local agent because they know the area and they'll have buyers just waiting. But with the day of internet access, everything is online. If you're not online, then you're not on the market. So
it reminds me of that phrase where we had a property on the beach and the person next door said, yeah, you're either on the beach or you're not.
Yeah.
So
with internet searching, they don't even look at where the agent's from. So,
no, I must admit, when I've done internet searching on properties, I kind of look at and we bought it, just up by the ocean, and I didn't even look where the agent was.
Yeah.
I had to drive around, and I went, I like that block. The agent's number was on there. I never even asked if it was local or anything. I'm the buyer. I just want that. So
I went into a suburb where I've never sold before. Sold it in 12 hours for a record price for the suburb. Okay.
Wow.
So that I'm not a local agent. I've never been to that suburb before, but I can do all my research and I can, apply a fresh set of eyes to the suburb. So that example, it can be repeated across a number of suburbs.
And I must admit, the agents that I've met, and there's lots and lots of good agents, they do not confine themselves just to that local area anymore. They're like you. They go, we're really good at what we do.
Well, I go where I'm needed,
Yeah.
So
it's exactly right.
I literally was speaking to someone this morning, and they said, this agent, they're not interested in listing properties anywhere outside of Fremantle.
Wow.
And I'm going, well, why not? So I actually like that challenge of going into a suburb and selling something. I've sold, I think we talked about this off air once before as well, in Mount Lawley, in a very prestigious suburb.
Beautiful spot.
And one of the major local agents there not only told the sellers, but told the eventual buyers that the house was only worth 2.1 million. Okay, and we sold it for 2.75. Okay, so it's a big difference.
Massive.
Okay, and that was because that agent had a preset vision of what properties were worth in that suburb.
Yeah. Now, we talked about this before, and I am conscious of your time, Keith, but we've talked about what to look at for agents. Now, preparing your property. One thing I do want to touch on that just popped into my head there, just really quickly. I'm starting to see more and more adverts advertising, sell the house yourself, and it'll only cost you X. And I'm thinking, yeah, I could do the will myself, but I don't. I still get my lawyer to do it because I know if I do it myself, it may not be wrong. And if you don't have a proper will, well, the government decides what's happening. These do-it-yourself selling, if you're not, you've got experience of real estate, so you'll find selling your stuff. Are they all they're cracked up to be, or there is some things people just need to be aware of if they're going to go down that path?
Yeah, they need to be very wary on what they're getting, because there still is a fee to use these. So be very wary on what you get. And there's a couple of different ones around at the moment, but if you're responsible for selling the property, or is someone else going to do it for low cost or no commissions, you work out how they get paid and what is their motivation for actually selling your house. Okay. To me, there's nothing more motivating than to sitting in a house with no one coming through and the home open. Okay, so I'm sitting there going, okay, how can I create more people to come through this property?
Yes.
I find it's one of the most motivating things, because I don't like wasting my time.
No.
So if I'm sitting there and no one's coming through, then I'm actually literally devising ways of how can I get more people to come through this property.
Yeah.
So in a booming market, it's quite easy to sell, but in a booming market, you need to take advantage of that and actually get the most out of the sale as well. So if you're either doing it yourself or having one of these other cheap organisations to do it, are you guaranteed that that's going to happen? Okay, I only get paid on successful sale of a property. My job is to do such a good job and get such a good price that that person will then use me again and
Yes.
refer me to their friends.
Yeah.
So that's my motivation to get the best each time. And plus, I'm a service-based person as well.
Yeah. There is a thing, and we're saying, and I think your biggest takeaway, because I am conscious of your time, I do appreciate you spending the time with us, but your biggest takeaway, before someone actually starts doing any of this stuff we've talked about, what is the thing you've learned? You say, this is my number one, I'll pass it on to you.
I think start talking to agents and potential agents before you start doing things to your house.
Right.
I come along sometimes and people have already done stuff and you go, well, probably I didn't need to do that. Okay. So it also gives you time to build the relationship with your client. I've got a client at the moment, we're about to hit the market, and we've been talking for 13 months.
Wow.
Okay. So, that shows to her that I'm still interested in her as a person. I keep my follow-ups and we keep in communication. And I'm not just there to earn the money from selling a house.
Yeah.
I'm building a relationship.
Fantastic.
So, and we've talked about doing things to the house so she can get those things done. If she was waiting till she was ready to go on the market, there was a lot of things she would have done that weren't necessary to do, and she might not have done some of the things that we've talked about to get ready.
I think that's great advice. Someone watching now wants to put their property on the market, Keith. What's the best way of contacting yourself?
You can call me on my mobile, 0433 005 042, or Keith at keithenglishrealestate.com.au.
And the website address is?
keithenglishanassociates.com.au.
Fantastic. It's been great having you in the studio. Thanks for coming in.
All right, thank you, Mike.